What you think, you become. Your dominating thoughts shape your destiny. Control your mind, or it will control you. If you allow doubt, fear, or laziness to rule, you will live in the shadow of what could have been. But if your mind is filled with courage, faith, and discipline, you will command results. Success demands commitment. Not interest, commitment. The kind that makes you burn the ships and remove all exits. The kind that says, I will win or I will die trying, but I will never quit. Every great man or woman has reached a point where retreat was no longer an option. But desire alone is not enough. You must take immediate, relentless action. Act with urgency. Act with power. Success belongs to the one who moves before he is ready, who acts even when uncertain, and who grows stronger through motion. And do not walk alone. Align yourself with power. Build a mastermind alliance. Surround yourself with those who think big, talk vision, and move with boldness. No one climbs to the peak of success by themselves. Iron sharpens iron. Every second, you are either becoming the magnet of success or the victim of mediocrity. There is no in-between. So I ask you, who are you becoming? Because when you become the person who attracts success, success will have no choice but to find you. Now go and become that person. Success is not pursued, it is attracted by who you become. The world does not reward the one who runs hardest, it rewards the one who runs with precision, clarity, and purpose. A man can spend his entire life chasing success, chasing money, chasing recognition, and still die empty. Because chasing is a signal to the universe that you do not yet possess the power to command what you desire. You do not chase what belongs to you, you prepare for it. You align with it. You elevate your inner world until what you want has no choice but to be drawn to you. The game was never about running faster. It was always about transforming your identity. The person you are today has attracted the life you live right now. Not the one you wish you were, not the one you pretend to be on the outside, the one you truly are on the inside. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, your standards. These are the forces shaping your reality. You don't attract success with effort alone. You attract it with alignment. You cannot lie to life. You cannot fake discipline. You cannot fake mindset. You cannot fake energy. What you project is what you attract. Mediocrity is not a circumstance, it's a vibration. Greatness is not a gift, it's a frequency. And you either rise to meet it or you stay where you are. If success is not finding you, it's because who you are does not yet match the level of success you're asking for. The doors will not open until you become the one who can walk through them. You attract success by raising your standards so high that failure becomes unnatural. You become magnetic when your identity is built on certainty, not wishful thinking. You don't speak about goals, you live them. You don't ask for motivation, you wake up with it. You don't wait for opportunities, you create them. You become undeniable. And when you are undeniable, success has no choice but to find you. You are not entitled to anything you haven't earned through personal transformation. The level of results you want is guarded by the version of yourself you refuse to become. Every weakness you ignore is a gate that will never open. Every excuse you justify is a chain that keeps you where you are. Success is not seduced by talk. It is drawn to mastery, to conviction, to those who pay the price in advance. You must become the person who lives as if what they want is already theirs. Act as the version of you who is already there. Think like him, move like her, speak with power, walk with clarity, cut off distractions, stop negotiating with laziness. You cannot attract success if you're still living like the person who tolerates average. You cannot attract greatness if you're still feeding your fears more than your faith. There is a gravity to success. It pulls toward those who are obsessed with becoming more, doing more, living sharper, cleaner, harder. It moves toward those who operate in alignment with truth. Not trends, not hype, not shortcuts. Success is pulled in by discipline, consistency, and an inner fire that does not burn out when things get hard. It comes to the one who is ready. And readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You build this attraction power by mastering the fundamentals. Your mindset must be locked in like steel. Your purpose must be so definite, so specific, that it dominates your thinking. Your actions must be fast, decisive, and daily. There is no room for hesitation in a mind built for results. Every moment you delay, you weaken the magnetic pull between you and your vision. But when you move with urgency, with faith, with focus, you compress time, you accelerate the process, you close the gap. Understand that people are not rewarded for effort, they are rewarded for becoming. The man who becomes strong, disciplined, strategic, and bold attracts opportunities, allies, wealth, and power without chasing them. His energy introduces him before he speaks. His standards push people to level up or get out of his way. He does not hope for success, he expects it, because he has become the one success is looking for. And it's not about appearances. It's not about pretending to be confident. It's not about talking louder or moving faster. It's about becoming so aligned internally that your thoughts, beliefs, and actions are moving in perfect synchronization toward your goal. When your inner world is clear, focused, and certain, your outer world follows. That is how attraction works. That is how results are pulled in, not by force, but by identity. You must eliminate everything in you that contradicts your vision. Every excuse, every fear, every small habit, every weak environment, every voice that tells you to slow down, to take it easy, to wait, these are enemies, not annoyances, not harmless distractions, enemies, because they pull your energy downward, and what pulls you down repels everything you want. You must protect your power, guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Success is not impressed by talk. It is not moved by emotion. It does not respond to wishing or hoping or visualizing without action. It bows only to the one who does the work, relentlessly, with no applause, no recognition, no validation, just vision and execution day after day. The one who is obsessed with progress, allergic to mediocrity, and unwilling to break promises made in private. That is who success moves toward, and when you become that person, results come faster, people come stronger, ideas come clearer, opportunities come greater, not because the world changed, but because you did. And when you change, everything around you must adjust. The world is simply responding to the signal you send. You are either attracting your destiny or pushing it away. There is no neutral state. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Until your purpose is clear, your power is scattered. You can have talent, skill, ambition, and drive, but without direction, you go nowhere. You can climb mountains, break limits, and move fast, but if you don't know exactly where you're going, you're only speeding up your arrival to the wrong destination. Success begins when you decide what you want so clearly, so specifically, so unshakably, that every thought and action becomes a servant to that one decision. Vague goals create vague results. A man who says, I want to be successful, has already failed. A man who says, I will build a business that earns $10 million in the next 5 years by solving this exact problem in this exact market, is already moving. Power begins the moment you become specific. The moment you burn the fog from your mind and lock in on a definite purpose, everything around you starts to bend in your direction. People feel it. Circumstances shift. Resources start to appear. Not because of luck, but because clarity creates force. No one drifts their way to greatness. No one stumbles into domination. You either command your direction or get lost in someone else's. Most people have preferences, not purpose. They like the idea of winning, but they haven't decided to. They're interested in success, but they haven't married it. Preferences are weak. They fall apart under pressure, but purpose is different. Purpose survives storms. It outlasts obstacles. It pushes back when life tries to take from you. Purpose is the fire that doesn't go out. When your purpose is definite, your energy is automatic. You don't need motivation. You don't need outside permission. You wake up with a target and you hit it. If you miss, you reload and fire again. You don't wonder if you're on the right path because you already decided the path. Indecision kills power. Clarity amplifies it. Most people lose time because they're constantly starting over. Every week a new goal. Every day a new distraction. They confuse movement with progress, but movement without purpose is wasted energy. The universe does not reward the unsure. It rewards the committed. It rewards the one who knows exactly what they want, why they want it, and what they're willing to do to get it. And if your answer is anything less than whatever it takes, then you are not ready. Because definiteness of purpose means burning all escape routes. It means cutting off every plan B. It means deciding that you will win or you will die trying, but you will not quit. You will not retreat and you will not bend. Definiteness of purpose means your decisions are made. Your mind is not open to negotiation. You don't need to ask 5 people for opinions. You don't need validation. You know where you're going. You've seen it in your mind. You've built it in your imagination. And now every action, every conversation, every habit is either taking you closer or pushing you away. And you have the awareness to cut what doesn't belong. You no longer tolerate noise. You no longer entertain the mediocre. Your life becomes lean, sharp, and directed like a missile locked on target. Purpose creates speed, not the speed of chaos, but the speed of precision. You don't waste time scrolling. You don't get pulled into gossip. You don't drift in and out of meaningless loops. You move with intention. You speak with direction. You work with intensity because you know the cost of drifting. You know how much time is stolen by the unfocused. You understand that without purpose, years can disappear while you're still figuring it out. And that is the luxury the hungry do not afford. Definiteness of purpose is the reason some people do more in 5 years than others do in a lifetime. Because it eliminates the unnecessary. It turns your life into a weapon. It makes you magnetic. People can feel it in your presence. They feel the difference between someone who is kind of in and someone who is all in. They feel the difference between the one who is interested in results and the one who is obsessed with them. Definite purpose cannot be faked. It's not in your words. It's in your energy. It's not in your plan. It's in your posture. The world bends to the one who knows exactly where they are going. And you don't need to know every step. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide the destination. That one decision changes your life. It forces growth. It forces decisions. It filters everything. If it doesn't align with the mission, it dies. If it doesn't contribute to the vision, it gets deleted. Definite purpose simplifies everything. You stop living wide and you start living deep. You stop being available to everyone and you start becoming accountable to your future. You stop reacting and you start creating. Because when your mind locks in, your world moves. Control your thoughts, they become your reality. Every result in your life is the fruit of a thought, planted, nurtured, and repeated until it hardened into belief and drove behavior. The world you live in is not out there. It is built from the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a product of what you've allowed to live inside your head. Every limitation you feel, every pattern you repeat, every failure you accept was first born in the mind before it ever became real in your life. You cannot live a powerful life with a weak mind. You cannot create abundance with thoughts of scarcity. You cannot walk in purpose while thinking in confusion. Your thoughts are the foundation of everything. And if the foundation is cracked, the structure will collapse, no matter how much effort you apply. Discipline begins in the mind. Focus begins in the mind. Confidence, clarity, execution, consistency. They all start in the thoughts you permit, entertain, and repeat until they become automatic. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. Thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds. And every seed you plant will produce something. You don't get to skip the harvest. You don't get to think in fear and expect to act in faith. You don't get to think in doubt and expect results built on certainty. Every single day you are planting, the question is, what are you growing? Are you allowing weakness to take root? Are you feeding narratives that keep you small? Are you repeating stories in your mind that keep you from becoming who you know you're capable of being? You cannot expect change while living with the same thought patterns that built the old version of you. You must become a different thinker to create a different life. You must upgrade your inner language. Your self-talk cannot be casual. It cannot be accidental. It must be designed with precision because your subconscious does not filter for truth. It accepts repetition. Say something long enough and your nervous system will believe it. And once belief is locked in, behavior will follow. This is why people stay stuck. They change their goals, but never change the thought loops running silently underneath. The problem isn't the strategy, it's the software. The disciplined mind is a dangerous force. It cannot be manipulated by circumstances. It cannot be seduced by fear. It cannot be controlled by other people's opinions. It runs on intention. It's too busy building to be distracted, too focused to be moved by petty things, too aware to waste time on emotional reactions that add no value. When your thoughts are aligned with power, your life begins to reflect it. You walk different. You talk different. You enter rooms with a presence that speaks before you do. You stop explaining yourself and start executing. Everything changes when you take full ownership of your mental environment. You start filtering what enters your head with the same intensity you'd use to protect a vault full of gold. You stop allowing garbage to play on loop. You don't scroll mindlessly. You don't feed on negativity. You don't engage in conversations that pull you backward. You know that thoughts become moods, moods become habits, and habits become your life. So you audit your thoughts like a CEO audits numbers, ruthlessly, relentlessly, with zero tolerance for mental waste. Control means awareness. It means catching the thought before it becomes a feeling, before it takes over your state, before it hijacks your momentum. It means replacing weakness with power on command, not once, every time. It means drilling the right thoughts into your mind so frequently they become your default setting. And when you do it long enough, you don't have to force confidence. It becomes your baseline. You don't have to fake strength. It flows through you because you trained your mind to support your mission, not sabotage it. The world doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. And your thoughts are the filter through which you experience it. Change the filter, and the world changes. Change the thought, and the problem shrinks. Build a dominant thought pattern of growth, hunger, certainty, and execution, and you'll build a dominant life. But as long as you let your thoughts run wild, driven by emotion, steered by fear, influenced by noise, you'll keep spinning in the same cycle of frustration and missed potential. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you think about most. Think in alignment with your goals and your actions will follow. Think in power and your words will carry weight. Think in vision and your time will be used with precision. Thoughts are the beginning of all transformation. No change is possible until you win the battle in your head. No success will last unless your mind is built to sustain it. Discipline your thoughts and your life will obey. Let them run loose and nothing else will matter. Burn the ships. Commit with no retreat. You do not leave the back door open when you're serious about winning. You do not keep a safety net when you're building a new identity. The second you allow an escape route, your mind starts negotiating with it. Your body shows back, but your spirit holds back. Your effort is split, and split effort will never create full power. When you're truly committed, quitting isn't even on the menu. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. It doesn't matter how long it takes. The decision has already been made. There's a different energy in a person who has no way out. There's a hunger, a focus, a fight that only shows up when the option to retreat is completely removed. You think clearer, you move faster, you stop waiting, you stop hoping, you stop playing with your potential like it's a game. When there's no plan B, plan A gets done. Most people never reach the next level because they're always looking over their shoulder, always checking the map to see if they can turn back, always making sure the bridge is still intact. Burn the bridge. Burn the backup. Burn the comfort zone that keeps lying to you. You don't need another strategy. You need a real decision, one that cuts off all other options, one that draws a line so deep in your mind that you don't have to keep thinking about it. You just move, you execute, you adapt, you overcome. Because when your mind knows there is no other option, it will find a way. But when retreat is available, weakness will use it. Doubt will sneak through it. Fear will camp in it. And eventually that retreat becomes your reality. You weren't built to live halfway. You weren't built to play safe. Safety is an illusion created by the weak to justify not risking. The ones who make history are the ones who go all in with no exit, all in with no excuses, all in with no turning back. You want to be remembered. You want to be respected. You want to know what it feels like to actually fulfill your potential. Then step into the fire with both feet and don't look back. Destroy the lifeline. Tear up the backup plan, and then go build the thing you said you would build. Become the person you said you would become, no matter what stands in your way. Commitment is not a feeling. It's a decision followed by action over and over again, regardless of the mood, regardless of the weather, regardless of how tired you are, how discouraged you get, or how far away the finish line looks. This isn't about hype. This is about grit. This is about doing the work even when it doesn't feel good. This is about showing up when no one's watching, grinding when no one's clapping, pushing when everyone else would have stopped. That's what real commitment looks like. You make the vow and you live it with every breath, and you'll be tested. You'll want to quit. You'll have days where nothing works, where everything breaks, where people walk away, where your results look like failure. Good. That's part of the process. That's the universe checking your resolve. That's life making sure you're serious. You don't get the reward without paying the price, and the price is simple, total commitment. Not sometimes, not until it gets uncomfortable, not until something easier shows up. Total, until it is done. Burning the ships means you're not hoping this works. You are making it work. There is no if, only when. No, shall I keep going? Only what's the next step? It means your entire being is locked into the mission. Your identity begins to align with the outcome. You start thinking like the person who's already there, talking like them, moving like them, because you already decided that future is not a possibility. It's inevitable, and that belief, backed by ruthless commitment, is what builds results that make the world stop and take notice. The reason people stay average is because they keep giving themselves permission to quit. They don't say it out loud, but it's in their habits. It's in their attitude, it's in the way they delay decisions, avoid risks, and cling to comfort. And as long as that retreat option exists, they'll always have one foot out. Always doubting, always hesitating, always giving themselves the emotional back door labeled maybe later. But the winners, the real ones, they slam the door shut, lock it, melt the key, and toss it into the ocean. You know what happens when you go all in? You evolve fast. You stretch past your limits because you have no choice. You discover a level of grit and creativity that most people never tap into because they never had to. You don't just survive, you get sharper, tougher, smarter. Your instincts sharpen, your decisions improve. You find strength in places you didn't know existed because pressure forces you to rise. Burn the ships, and you'll meet the real you. The you that can't be stopped. The you that doesn't run. The you that finishes the fight. Develop unwavering faith and take immediate action. That is the formula. Not faith someday, not action after perfection. Now, immediately, with certainty so strong, it burns through hesitation. Faith without action is fantasy. Action without faith is wasted motion. But when the two are fused, when belief is unshakable and execution is immediate, nothing stands in your way. Mountains move. Obstacles fold. Momentum explodes. Life begins to obey the one who acts with conviction and refuses to doubt. You either believe or you don't. There is no halfway. There is no in-between. Doubt paralyzes. Faith activates. Doubt drains your energy. Faith multiplies it. If your belief shakes at the first sign of pressure, you never believed in the first place. Faith is forged in challenge. It's proven when nothing around you looks promising, but you still move. You still press forward. You still execute. Because you know the vision in your mind is more real than the circumstances around you, and you refuse to betray that vision by standing still. Real faith is not passive. It's not sitting in silence, hoping things turn around. It's aggressive. It's loud. It's relentless. It demands results. It refuses to wait for permission, resources, applause, or guarantees. Unwavering faith is a force. It bends reality. It shatters statistics. It overrules logic. It makes the impossible possible. Not through magic, but through fire-powered focus and consistent movement in the face of all resistance. It believes so strongly that every action becomes unstoppable. That kind of faith doesn't ask, what if I fail? It declares, watch me win. But belief alone is not enough. Belief must become motion. Ideas must become movement. Nothing happens until you act. You can have the greatest vision, the boldest goal, the clearest plan, but if you don't move now, you'll be stuck forever. Most people wait too long. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for the right conditions. They wait for the fear to disappear. That wait becomes their prison. Because the truth is, fear doesn't leave. You outgrow it by walking through it. And that only happens through action. You don't get courage, then act. You act, and then courage shows up. You don't get clarity by thinking. You get clarity by doing. You move. You fall. You adjust. You learn faster in one day of execution than in a month of planning. Speed matters. Delay kills dreams. The faster you move, the faster you learn. The faster you adapt, the faster you win. Perfection is a lie. Progress is the weapon. Take the step, make the call, launch the product. Say yes. Say no, cut it, build it, do it now. Not later, now. Your success will not be determined by how smart you are. It will be determined by how fast you move on what you already know. People talk too much, think too long, wait too often. They have 1,000 dreams and 0 action. They collect strategies and never apply them. They read books and change nothing. They confuse knowledge with power. Knowledge is potential. Action is power. Only action transforms. Only action brings results. Only action brings momentum, confidence, and breakthrough. You either take the leap or you stay on the ground wishing. Faith means you stop asking if you're ready. You decide you're ready. You don't need a second opinion. You don't need a perfect plan. You move with what you've got and let your mind catch up. You stop looking for motivation and start acting like the person who wins. You talk like them, think like them, work like them, because the fastest way to believe is to behave like it's already yours. And when you take action from that place, the world starts responding. Doors open, people appear, opportunities unlock, not because they weren't there before, but because you finally stepped into an alignment. If you hesitate, you lose the window. If you stall, you miss the moment. When faith says go and you listen, power shows up. Timing meets preparation. Effort meets opportunity. Action meets reward. But if you hesitate, the door closes. You overthink. You fall into the trap of paralysis. You start doubting. And that doubt grows until it becomes louder than the dream. That's why immediate action matters. It silences the noise. It interrupts the spiral. It breaks the chains of fear before they harden into excuses. Act before your mind talks you out of it. Everything you want is waiting on the other side of the action you've been avoiding. Everything you are meant to become is hidden inside the discipline of showing up again and again, even when nothing is working, especially when nothing is working. Unwavering faith doesn't mean you always feel good. It means you never give up. Immediate action doesn't mean you know everything. It means you know enough to start. And that start is the signal to the universe that you're serious, that you're done pretending, that you're done negotiating, that you're done living small. Surround yourself with power through a mastermind alliance. Success is never built alone. You can have discipline, vision, hunger, but if you're surrounded by weakness, you will drown in it. You cannot rise while tied to anchors. You cannot expand in a space filled with doubt. The people around you are either sharpening your edge or dulling your blade. They are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. And there's no neutral energy. Every voice in your life is shaping you, molding you, building, or breaking your momentum. That's why your environment must be designed, not defaulted. Power multiplies in the presence of other power. One mind is limited. One perspective is narrow. But when 2 or more minds come together, aligned in purpose, focused in direction, and committed to the same level of execution, a new force is created. That force can move markets, dominate industries, bend reality. A mastermind is not a group of friends. It's not a social club. It's a circle forged in fire, built with intention, bound by results. It is the alliance of minds refusing to operate in mediocrity. It is the convergence of belief, discipline, strategy, and execution shared and expanded by every member. If you are the sharpest in the room, you're in the wrong room. If no one around you challenges your thinking, pushes your limits, questions your pace, you're not growing. If your circle is made up of people who make excuses, talk problems, think small, and avoid risk, then you are suffocating in their energy and calling it friendship. Proximity is power. Energy is contagious. You cannot expect to carry the mindset of a lion while walking with sheep. You cannot stay on fire while being soaked in their comfort. The mastermind is where iron sharpens iron, where war plans are made, where limitations are confronted and burned to the ground. Greatness thrives in aligned conversation, in the exchange of ideas with people who refuse to lose, in the presence of others who understand that the standard is non-negotiable. When you sit at that table, you rise whether you want to or not, because the standard around you forces you to become more. Every word carries weight. Every plan gets refined. Every weakness is exposed and upgraded. There's no pretending in the mastermind, no acting like you're doing the work. You either bring value or you're out. You either grow or you get replaced. That pressure is what makes it powerful. You don't just find these people. You attract them by who you become. You become disciplined. You'll attract discipline. You speak with clarity, and you'll find those who think with precision. You move with speed, and you'll connect with those who are building at a different frequency. But if your mindset is still casual, if your goals are vague, if your habits are sloppy, then you'll only ever connect with others playing at that same low level. Raise your personal standard, and your circle will follow. Become valuable, and the mastermind will find you. This is not about popularity, it's about power. It's about creating an environment so aligned with execution that even on your worst day, you still move forward. It's about having people around you who don't let you slip, who don't let you coast, who call you out when your energy drops. It's about alignment so tight that no time is wasted on complaining, gossip, or distractions. Every conversation is a strategy session. Every connection is a resource. Every alliance is a multiplier. In that space, time moves faster. Results come quicker. Decisions get clearer because you're no longer carrying the weight of the world alone. You're backed by a force greater than yourself. The most dangerous place to operate from is isolation. You start believing your own doubts. You start overthinking simple moves. You hesitate when you should dominate. You question the vision. You shrink the goal, not because you're weak, but because you're alone. The enemy loves silence, loves secrecy, loves the lone wolf mentality. But a real mastermind destroys isolation. It replaces it with precision dialogue, constant feedback, and the powerful knowledge that you are not the only one carrying the mission. When the vision is shared, the load gets lighter, the path gets clearer, and the pace gets faster. Look around your life. Audit your conversations. Who challenges you? Who holds you to a higher level? Who won't let you slip back into old patterns? Who shows you what's possible just by how they live? Who speaks in a way that stirs up your next level? Who brings you answers instead of excuses? That's your circle. That's your alliance. And if they're not in your life yet, build yourself until you become the person they're looking for. Because the mastermind doesn't chase. It attracts. It doesn't beg. It builds. And when it moves with force. Everything changes when the right minds connect. What felt overwhelming becomes a strategy. What felt impossible becomes a target. What felt like fear becomes fuel. Because now you're not alone. You're surrounded by execution, surrounded by vision, surrounded by warriors who don't flinch, don't fold, don't fade. And when your mind unites with theirs, when your energy fuses with their drive, a new power is born. And from that place, anything can be built. So stop chasing success. Become it. Mold yourself into the kind of person success is magnetized to, through purpose, through thought, through faith, through discipline, through action, through alliance. Don't wait for permission. Don't ask for signs. Don't explain yourself to the world. Show it. Every move you make is either sharpening you or softening you. Decide. Your life is exactly where you placed it. If your finances are a mess, your time wasted, your goals forgotten, your mind fogged, it's no one's fault but your own. But here's the beautiful truth. You have the power to change it all, starting today. Let's go. The first step in taking control of your life is deciding exactly what you want, not vaguely, not someday, but with ruthless precision and unwavering clarity. A person without a definite purpose is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave, carried by every current, driven by the winds of circumstance. And where does that ship end up? Nowhere worth going. You must fix your mind on a single burning aim, one goal, one mission, one purpose that wakes you up in the morning and refuses to let you sleep at night. This purpose must not be borrowed from someone else's dreams or handed to you by society. It must rise from deep within you, from your own hunger, your own vision, your own fire. The masses drift because they lack purpose. They spend their days reacting, not creating. They wait for opportunities to fall from the sky instead of building the ladder to climb toward them. They wake up without direction, move without intention, and collapse into sleep wondering where the time went. And yet they wonder why nothing changes. The truth is simple. Change doesn't begin with motion, it begins with direction. And direction only comes from definiteness of purpose. When your purpose is clear, your energy becomes focused. Distractions lose their power, noise fades into silence. The petty opinions of others become irrelevant. Why? Because you're locked in. You know where you're going. You don't need approval when you've got a mission. Definiteness of purpose turns time into a weapon. Every hour becomes a tool. Every day becomes a brick in the foundation of something massive. You no longer just exist. You build, you climb, you move. There is no more wandering, no more hoping, no more luck. There is only movement backed by clarity and fire. But here's the mistake people make. They say they want something, but they don't define it. They say, I want to be successful. What does that mean? That's not a purpose. That's a wish. That's a cloud. A purpose must be exact. It must be measurable. It must be written. If you want success, define the number. Define the date. Define the outcome. Put it in writing. Carry it with you. Memorize it. Breathe it. Every decision you make must answer one question. Does this move me closer to my purpose? If the answer is no, eliminate it. Cut it. Erase it from your life. Because anything that doesn't drive you forward is dragging you backward. You cannot serve two masters. You either serve your purpose or your weakness. You choose. When you are definite in your aim, life begins to organize around it. People appear, opportunities arise, connections form, not because of magic, but because your mind is alert. You begin to see what others miss. Why? Because you're looking with intention, not with wandering eyes. Your inner world controls your outer results, always. No one stumbles into greatness. No one falls into fulfillment. The highest achievers on this planet are those who chose a purpose, fixed their mind on it, and refused to let go. No matter the setback, no matter the failure, no matter the delay, they did not shift their aim. They adjusted their path, but not their destination, because they had already decided. That's the word most people fear, decision. To decide is to cut off all other options. It's a commitment, and commitment is rare. The world is full of dabblers, people who try everything and master nothing. They chase every shiny object, every trend, every shortcut, and they end up empty, scattered, and forgotten. But the focused individual, the one with a definite purpose, they become a force. Their reputation grows, their results multiply, their presence carries weight. Why? Because people can feel certainty. They can sense conviction, and the world bows to the person who knows exactly where they are going. If your life feels out of control, if you feel lost or unfocused, the first step is not to do more, it's to decide. Decide what you truly want. Not what looks good on social media, not what pleases others, not what feels safe, but what sets your soul on fire. What you'd do even if no one clapped. What you'd pursue even if it was hard, especially if it was hard. Clarity is power, and most people are broke in life because they are bankrupt in clarity. The person who knows exactly what they want will always dominate the person who doesn't. Always. So today, right now, get honest with yourself. Ask, what is my aim? What am I building? What is the one thing that matters more than anything else? And if you don't have an answer, don't do anything until you do. Get still, get serious, get focused. Your future depends on it. Burn your purpose into your mind. Repeat it every morning. Read it every night. Let it become your compass. Let it become your weapon. Let it become your obsession, because when your purpose becomes a necessity, not a wish, not a preference, but a life or death necessity, you will move mountains. You will bend reality. You will force life to make room for your vision. And that's when you begin to live on your own terms, not by chance, not by default, but by decision, by direction, by fire. Self-discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. It is the force that separates winners from watchers, builders from beggars, and leaders from followers. You can have ambition, you can have talent, you can even have opportunity. But without self-discipline, it all crumbles. It all stays locked inside you, wasted, unrealized, forgotten. There is no success without control, no power without restraint. If you cannot command yourself, you will be commanded by everything else. The phone will control your mind. The food will control your health. The laziness will control your time. The people around you will control your energy. The world is full of masters waiting to own your focus, your money, your attention. The only protection you have is self-discipline. That is your armor. That is your sword. The disciplined man does not need to be told twice. He does not wait for motivation. He doesn't hope for convenience. He moves whether it's raining or sunny, whether it's easy or painful, because his loyalty is not to comfort. His loyalty is to his mission. And that kind of man becomes unstoppable. Self-discipline is not about punishing yourself. It's about liberating yourself from weakness, from chaos, from fear. It's saying, I will not be a slave to impulse. I will not bow to distractions. I will not betray my future for temporary pleasure. It is a declaration of war on the lazy part of you that always wants to sleep longer, scroll further, eat more, and do less. The undisciplined mind looks for escape. The disciplined mind looks for execution. The undisciplined mind needs rewards. The disciplined mind is the reward. There is a savage power in waking up and doing what you said you would do, especially when no one is watching. That's how confidence is built. Not through affirmation, not through theory, but through repetition, through action, through quiet, consistent victories when no one else is clapping for you. Every excuse is an enemy. Every delay is a thief. Every soft decision is a silent agreement to lose. People talk about how hard life is, but they won't even say no to a donut. They want transformation, but they won't say no to one more episode, one more drink, one more day off. And they wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because they don't change. If you want to build the life you dream of, you must become a person worthy of that life. That means saying no when it's hard. That means doing the thing when it's uncomfortable. That means getting up when you're tired, showing up when you're afraid, and staying sharp when the world says relax. Self-discipline is not a moment. It is a mindset. It is not a switch you flip when it's convenient. It's a code you live by, day in, day out, and yes, it will hurt. That's the prize. It will hurt to say no to easy pleasures. It will hurt to sacrifice sleep, to grind through fatigue, to train when you're sore, to work when you're uninspired. But pain is the toll for freedom. Suffering is the price for mastery. Weak people run from it. Strong people build empires with it. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding discomfort. You become unbreakable by facing it again and again until it becomes your ally. People will tell you to take it easy. People will say you deserve a break. They'll try to hand you comfort like it's a gift. What they're really doing is handing you mediocrity dressed as kindness. Do not accept it. Do not accept average when excellence is on the table. You weren't built for easy. You weren't born to coast. You were made to rise, to dominate, to discipline your way to something greater. And the beauty of self-discipline is that it compounds. What starts as effort becomes habit. What starts as resistance becomes reflex. The first time you say no, it's a war. The 100th time, it's automatic. That's when you know you're free, not because you always do what you want, but because you consistently do what you decided. You will still be tempted. You will still get tired. The weakness never dies. It waits. But so does your strength. And the more you train it, the more it answers when called. Self-discipline is a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows with resistance. Don't avoid the hard days. Don't run from fatigue. Use them. Welcome them. Because every rep builds the mind. Every sacrifice sharpens the edge. Discipline is lonely. Discipline is quiet. Discipline is not sexy, but it is the gateway to everything you've ever wanted. Every master you admire, every giant you respect, they got there by walking through fire and refusing to flinch. They were not lucky. They were not chosen. They were simply consistent. And so the question is not whether you can succeed. The question is whether you will command yourself to do what it takes. Not once, not twice, but relentlessly, until the world has no choice but to see what you built in silence, forged in struggle, powered by discipline. There is no more dangerous lie than the one you tell yourself, "I'll do it later." That phrase has killed more dreams than failure ever could. Later becomes never. Someday becomes no day. And your life, full of potential, full of strength, full of fire, goes dim because you chose delay over movement. Immediate action is not a suggestion. It is the standard for anyone serious about achieving anything of real value. The gap between knowing and doing is where most people drown. They read the books, listen to the podcasts, attend the seminars, but they never move. They collect knowledge like trophies, but their life remains the same. Why? Because they refuse to act. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for more clarity. They wait to feel ready. And while they wait, someone else is out there building, doing, creating. The world doesn't reward the most intelligent. It rewards the ones who move. Action is the great separator. Everyone has ideas. Few have the guts to execute. Everyone wants results. Few are willing to create them. And this is the brutal truth. You will never feel ready. Readiness is a lie sold to the weak. You don't prepare and then act. You act, and through that action you become prepared. Courage is born in movement. Confidence is built in motion. Answers are discovered on the path, not before you take the first step. You must train yourself to respond immediately when the decision is made. The longer you wait, the weaker the decision becomes. Every second you hesitate, your mind begins negotiating. It starts creating reasons, excuses, distractions. You start to doubt, you start to rationalize, you start to delay, and delay is death to progress. High achievers move fast, not recklessly, but decisively. They understand that done is better than perfect, that forward is better than flawless. They make a plan and then they move. They adjust along the way, but they don't stall. They don't freeze. They don't let the moment slip. Momentum is a weapon, and if you don't seize it the second it appears, it's gone. Think of how many times you've had a strong idea, a bold impulse, a sudden motivation to change your life. You felt it rise inside you like a fire, and instead of acting, you paused. You scrolled, you waited, you said tomorrow, and that fire, once roaring, slowly burned out. That moment was your chance, and you missed it, not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't act. Action is the cure to fear. Action is the answer to doubt. When you move, the fog begins to clear. You see what's possible. You learn what works. You gain feedback. You develop experience. The mind feeds off data, and the only way to collect data is through action. The person who acts learns faster, grows faster, fails faster, and wins sooner. Too many people are stuck in preparation. They think if they just gather a little more information, just hear one more opinion, just wait for the stars to align, then they'll begin. What they don't realize is that life doesn't wait, opportunity doesn't wait, time doesn't wait, and most of all, the future you doesn't wait. Every second you delay, you are robbing that future version of yourself of the strength, clarity, and power that only action can create. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to move. You don't need more motivation. You need discipline to act, with or without it. You don't need anyone's permission. The only permission that matters is the one you give yourself when you decide to stop living like you have forever. Waiting is a habit. It's a disease of the mind. And like any disease, it must be treated aggressively. You have to replace hesitation with execution. You have to teach your brain that when a decision is made, movement follows. No delay, no debate, just move. Start, speak, write, train, build, begin. That one act of movement sends a message to your subconscious. I am serious. I am ready. I am in control. There is power in immediate action. It builds momentum, and momentum builds belief. Each action leads to the next. You stack wins. You gain clarity. You stop thinking like a victim and start moving like a creator. You stop living by chance and start operating by choice. The clock is not your friend. Every day that passes is a day closer to the end. That's not fear, it's truth. So, what are you doing with today? What goal are you sitting on? What dream are you delaying? What calling have you been ignoring? Stop waiting for the right moment. The right moment is whatever moment you decide to move. You've waited long enough. You've thought about it long enough. Now it's time to show what you're made of. Not with words, not with ideas, but with action. Relentless, immediate, decisive action. The kind that shakes the ground you stand on. The kind that tells the world you are done playing small. The kind that separates the few who move from the many who watch. Success does not happen by accident. Victory is not random. Wealth, power, freedom, none of them come from chance. They are claimed by men and women who plan with precision and move with force. Organized planning is not optional. It is the master tool of every serious achiever. Without it, your dreams are just daydreams, empty, floating, weak. With it, they become structured, intentional, and real. Planning takes the abstract and makes it concrete. It takes the future and pulls it into the present where it can be acted on. The man who fails to plan is planning to fail. That's not a cliche. That's a law. If your goals are vague, your outcomes will be scattered. If your steps are undefined, your motion will be wasted. And wasted motion is wasted time. And wasted time is wasted life. A man with no plan is a man at the mercy of circumstance. He reacts instead of leads. He wanders instead of conquers. He works hard but builds nothing because his energy is unshaped and misdirected. But the man with a plan, he owns his life. He doesn't leave his future in the hands of fate. He grabs it, breaks it down, maps it out, and builds it piece by piece. He wakes up knowing what the mission is, and he executes. He doesn't get overwhelmed because he's already made the decisions that matter. He doesn't procrastinate because the next step is always right in front of him. Clarity is his advantage and execution is his weapon. Organized planning begins with the goal, but it doesn't stop there. The goal is the target, but the plan is the path. And every path needs structure. Every outcome needs milestones. Every vision needs tactics. It's not enough to say, I want success. You must define what success looks like. You must break it down to the smallest measurable actions. You must assign timelines. You must define standards. You must know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and when it must be done. A plan is only powerful when it's connected to action. You don't just write it and let it sit. You live by it. You adjust it. You measure against it. You hold yourself accountable to it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Too many people make plans and treat them like suggestions. They write their goals and never revisit them. That's not planning, that's pretending. A real plan is a living contract between you and your destiny. And every day you either honor that contract or you break it. Planning demands honesty. You can't build on lies. You must look at where you are without emotion, without ego, without excuse. You must assess your strengths, your weaknesses, your resources, your time, your skills, and then design a strategy based on truth. Not on hope, not on fantasy, on truth. Because when the plan is real, the results become real. When the map matches the terrain, progress becomes predictable, growth becomes guaranteed, and a plan is not rigid. It's alive, it breathes, it adapts. But it never loses sight of the mission. When something doesn't work, you don't throw the mission away, you modify the method. When obstacles appear, you don't retreat, you recalibrate. The weak abandon their plans at the first sign of resistance. The strong adjust their approach and keep moving. Because the mission doesn't change, the end goal doesn't move, the destination stays fixed, only the route evolves. You cannot build something great by accident. Buildings require blueprints. Empires require systems. Legends require execution plans. And your life, if you truly want it to mean something, demands the same level of intention. You must treat your vision like a project. Assign deadlines, track progress, build routines. Design your days around results. Your calendar should reflect your goals. Your environment should support your focus. Your time should be invested like capital. That's how professionals operate. That's how winners win. The world does not respect vague. The world rewards clear. When your plan is clear, others can follow it. Others can support it. Opportunities align with it. Resources flow to it. The universe responds to structure. It responds to those who know what they want and act like they deserve it. And that's what organized planning does. It tells the world, I am not hoping for success, I am building it. I am not waiting for a break, I am creating one. I am not dreaming of a future, I am engineering it. You don't rise by chance, you rise by design. You rise because you put in the thought before the motion. You rise because you sat down, faced the truth, and mapped out what needed to be done, and then did it. That's the kind of man the world can't stop. That's the kind of woman history remembers. Not the one with the loudest wishes, but the one with the clearest plan and the courage to follow it through with ruthless consistency. So if you want to change your life, don't start with a wish, start with a plan. Break your dream into actions. Break your actions into habits. Break your habits into time slots. Break your time slots into a system. Then live that system like your life depends on it, because it does. Every great life ever built was first a blueprint on paper. The only difference between you and the ones who made it is what you do after the planning is done. Every failure, every disappointment, every wasted year can be traced back to one cause: faulty thinking. The inability to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. The refusal to separate fact from opinion, truth from noise, reality from delusion. Accurate thinking is not just a skill, it is survival. It is the foundation of all sound decisions, all effective planning, all lasting success. Without it, you are blind in a battlefield, swinging at shadows, mistaking movement for progress and emotion for truth. The mind is your greatest asset, but only if you discipline it. If left unchecked, it will lie to you, trick you, sabotage you. It will rationalize laziness, justify fear, inflate your pride, and bury your weaknesses under ego. To think accurately is to take control of the machine between your ears and force it to deal only with facts, only with logic, only with what can be tested, proven, verified. Anything else is a distraction. Anything else is a trap. You must learn to question everything, not with cynicism, but with clarity. What is true? What do I know? What have I assumed? What have I accepted without evidence? What emotions are coloring my conclusions? Most people never ask these questions. They accept whatever supports their comfort. They avoid anything that forces them to confront their flaws. Here are 4 how-to questions you can use to narrow that gap. And so they drift, always reacting, never choosing, always chasing, never building. Accurate thinking demands that you strip away the stories you've told yourself and replace them with facts, however uncomfortable they may be. This discipline of thought separates winners from wishers. The weak allow opinions to guide their actions. The strong base their actions on reality. The weak get excited over trends. The strong look at patterns. The weak chase popularity. The strong pursue results. Accurate thinking is not glamorous. It is not emotional. It is not exciting. It is cold, sharp, objective. But it works. And that's the only thing that matters. You must guard your mind like a fortress. Information is everywhere. Most of it useless. Most of it noise. Most of it designed to manipulate rather than educate. The thinker who wins is not the one who consumes the most, but the one who filters the best. You must learn to ignore 90% of what you hear, read, see, and focus only on what is useful, verifiable, actionable. Do not allow opinions to masquerade as truth. Do not confuse loud voices with wise ones. Do not assume something is right just because it is repeated often. Truth doesn't care how many people believe it, it stands on its own. Accurate thinking is about priorities. What matters? What does not? Where is the leverage? Where is the waste? What is urgent versus important? What is emotional versus essential? Most people confuse movement with progress because they lack the thinking skills to know the difference. They stay busy but produce nothing. They are always in motion but never in direction. Their calendars are full, their minds are scattered, and their goals are forgotten. But the accurate thinker sees through the clutter. He sees what matters. He moves with focus. He strikes with precision. Thinking accurately also means evaluating yourself without distortion, your strengths, your flaws, your habits, your character. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. You cannot grow if you think you've already arrived. Pride is the enemy of progress. The accurate thinker asks, where am I weak? And then does the work. He does not make excuses. He does not sugarcoat. He does not avoid. He dissects his own behavior and uses the truth to build a better version of himself. Surrounding yourself with truth requires courage. It means you stop listening to people who flatter you. It means you stop avoiding hard conversations. It means you expose your blind spots and invite feedback from those who see further than you. The accurate thinker is not concerned with ego. He is concerned with improvement. He would rather be corrected than comfortable. He would rather be challenged than praised. That is why he grows while others stay stuck. You must apply accurate thinking to every area of life. Finances, health, relationships, time, leadership, business. You must define reality before you can change it. You must collect facts before you form opinions. You must challenge your assumptions before you act on them. Every great decision begins with accurate thinking. Every major mistake begins when emotions cloud logic. When others react, you must analyze. When others panic, you must stay grounded. When others follow blindly, you must question ruthlessly. This is the mindset of builders. This is how leaders are made. This is how freedom is earned, not by chance, not by luck, but by the mind sharpened through discipline, shaped by truth and guided by facts. The world will always try to pull you off course with noise, fear, and fiction. But the one who thinks clearly cannot be moved. Most people quit before they even begin. They speak of goals, but collapse at the first obstacle. They whisper dreams, but never commit with action. They want the rewards, but not the grind. They want the crown, but not the cross. And this is why they never rise. Because success is not given. It is earned through unbreakable persistence and ruthless accountability. Without these two forces, even the most talented, intelligent, or gifted person will fall short. Persistence is the fire. Accountability is the fuel. One without the other is wasted energy. Together they forge greatness. Persistence is not inspiration. It is not about feeling good. It is the ability to keep moving when the inspiration dies. It is the discipline to continue long after the mood has left. Everyone wants to keep going when it's easy. Everyone wants to show up when the results are visible. But what about when nothing's happening? What about when the winds are far away, when the audience is gone, when the effort feels invisible and the pain feels constant? That is the battlefield. That is where the real are separated from the pretenders. The persistent stay in the game because they've made a decision. This is not optional. This is who I am. I do not quit. I do not pause. I do not need applause to move. I have already committed, and that commitment is final. Most people fail not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked endurance. They folded under pressure. They let the grind break them. They let doubt speak louder than discipline. They treated persistence as a mood instead of a habit. You must train persistence like a muscle. You don't build it once and forget it. You work it every day, every rep, every push. Every time you show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's thankless, you add another layer of power to your character. But persistence alone is not enough. Without accountability, it becomes blind motion. You can persist in the wrong direction. You can work hard and still waste years. This is why accountability is the second pillar. It sharpens your focus. It holds you to the standard you set when you were clear, committed, and sober-minded. Most people run from accountability because it exposes their laziness. It confronts their excuse. It demands measurement, truth, correction. But the man who seeks greatness does not run from it. He welcomes it. He knows that the mirror doesn't lie. He doesn't hide from feedback. He hunts it down. He invites the truth, however painful, because he understands it is the only thing that will free him from mediocrity. Accountability starts with you. Before you ever look for an external source, you must master internal accountability. That voice inside your head that says, not good enough, do more, show up again, you must amplify it. Not with self-hatred, but with self-leadership. You must set standards that scare the average man and then meet them daily. You must stop negotiating with weakness, stop lowering the bar to match your feelings. Discipline yourself to follow through, regardless of mood, weather, emotion, or opinion. If you said you'd do it, do it. No backup plans, no side exits, just execution. Once you have mastered internal accountability, you seek external accountability to elevate you even higher. You find people who will not let you lie to yourself. You surround yourself with winners who call you out when you fall short. You create systems, scoreboards, metrics, deadlines that force transparency. Because results don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Habits don't lie. You don't rise by saying the right things. You rise by doing the hard things and having proof. There will be days when you feel like quitting. There will be days when the voice of doubt feels louder than the voice of discipline. There will be days when comfort tempts you to back down, and this is where persistence, powered by accountability, becomes your greatest weapon. You do not need to feel strong. You need only to remain committed. You need only to move one step further, one more rep, one more call, one more page, one more day. That's how giants are built. One defiant act of persistence at a time. You must stop seeing failure as defeat. It is not the end unless you make it so. Failure is feedback. It is information. It is the sharpening ground of those who do not quit. Every time you get knocked down and get back up, you are proving that your commitment is stronger than your emotion, that your purpose is louder than your pain, that your will is harder than the wall in front of you. And that is a terrifying power, because the man who cannot be broken cannot be stopped. Persistence, backed by accountability, makes you dangerous. It makes you a force of nature. While others wait for the right conditions, you build in the storm. While others hope to be motivated, you execute on principle. While others look for shortcuts, you build foundations. This is what separates those who try from those who triumph. Not talent, not timing, relentless persistence, ruthless accountability, and the daily decision to do what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. The life you want will not fall in your hands. It will be built by your hands. It will not come through wishful thinking, but through intentional action. Every principle you've heard, definiteness of purpose, self-discipline, immediate action, organized planning, accurate thinking, persistence, and accountability, is not theory. It is law. It is structure for your rise. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for the right time. You are choosing now, because power belongs to the man who decides, the man who moves, the man who endures. The world does not respond to noise, it responds to force. Be that force.